of Toronto School of Theology. Dr. Joseph Chandrakanthan was the first Sri Lankan Tamil to receive the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the University of Ottawa in 1987. He was the founding head of the Department of Christian and Islamic Studies at the University of Jaffna and was Professor of Ethics and Theology at Concordia University in Montreal from 1996 to 1999. He joined the Faculty of Theology at the University of Toronto in 2000 and concurrently worked as senior bioethicist at St. Michael's Hospital for over 20 years. The Supreme Court of Canada gave him accreditation as an expert witness on Sri Lankan religions. Dr. Chandrakanthan has given invited public lectures on religion, ethics, and human rights at several European and American universities, including Oxford University, Uppsala University in Sweden, the State University of New York. Here's Dr. Joseph Chandrakanthan.
அனைவருக்கும் அன்பு கலந்த வணக்கம். My dear brothers and sisters, thank you very much for inviting me to say a few words as we celebrate the Tamil Heritage Month in this year 2022. On behalf of all my Tamil brothers and sisters, I think we have a duty to thank all levels of government in Canada, especially the municipality, the provincial government, and the federal government, for recognizing the hard work of the Tamils, for recognizing our heritage with all its ramifications, with all its history, with all its spirituality, with all its literary and other productivity. Many organizations and corporations have also joined in congratulating, appreciating the Tamils for the hard work that they have been doing in their respective fields of engagement and employment. We thank them also for recognizing our heritage. Today I would like to reflect very briefly on three important issues which I feel is needed for us to remember in order to strengthen our heritage as much as to enhance the quality of our life which we have inherited from our ancestors. I wish to reflect therefore on the importance of our linguistic heritage, ethnic heritage, our tradition and our culture. There's no need to emphasize the fact that Tamils come from a very ancient culture. They have a patrimony of a very ancient language. According to Professor George Hart, Professor of South Asian Studies and particularly Tamil Studies at the University of California in Berkeley, Tamil is the oldest native written Indian language. And we all know recently, about 2 years ago, it was made a classical language or recognized as a classical language. And it took so late in India to be recognized as a classical language because of the political and other forms of limitations and restrictions that were placed on this very ancient people and their culture. There are many Tamils who are scholars who would claim that Tamil is the oldest of the languages or one of the oldest languages in the world. At the same time, we have this same claim being corroborated by great scholars like Professor George Hart, Professor Anne Monius at Harvard University, Professor Leslie O, and Professor Paula Taylor, and many others, who have done concerted and very deep reflections and studies on very ancient Tamil text, have concluded that Tamil is certainly one of the oldest written languages in the world. Secondly, I would also like to reflect very briefly on Tamil spirituality and the sense of Tamil universality. It's very often claimed that Tamils are very nationalistic, which is partly untrue, because if you look at the deeper layers of Tamil nationalism, it was in fact, and it is in fact, a defensive nationalism. Because of the offenses, the oppressions, the tragedies that the Tamils suffered for several centuries, and particularly for the Sri Lankan Tamils in the last century, from the time of our independence, nationalistic resurgence was noticed because it came out as a way of responding to things. But otherwise, Tamil spirituality from its very inception had been an open spirituality. We speak about Thiruvalluvar, and it so happened that Tirukkural, the great writings on Tamil ethics, was in fact translated into English by a Canadian-born scholar. His name was George Uglow Pope, or he is known as G.U. Pope. He was born in Prince Edward Island. He and his parents later, they went back to England, and from England he went to India in Tamil Nadu, where he served as a minister in the Anglican Church. And he was a great scholar who translated two major spiritual works, namely the Tirukkural, that goes back to pre-Christian times, and also the book of Tiruvasagam, a great Tamil Saiva book. And in both you find the universality of Tamil ethics and Tamil spirituality, as we find in the words of Vallalar later on, Vadiya Pairai Kandapodellam Vadineen Vadineen. Whenever I came across a withered plant, I withered within myself. That brings about a strong ecological spirituality as well. Just as Kamban, a 10th century poet who said, Manidam Vandradamma, it is humanity that ultimately wins. Or, in the pre-Christian times, Valluvar himself said, Vayathul Valvangu Valudal. The manner in which we live our lives in this world makes this world a heaven. And therefore, that's where humanity is seen, that is where humanity is fostered, that's where humanity receives its strength and vitality from the entirety of all creation. So that has been Tamil spirituality. A universal dimension of that spirituality has always been in it. And lastly, I think it's important for us also to remember that we need to remember our past. This Tamil Heritage Month, if there is one word that should underlie all celebrations, is this invitation to remember. We all know there were many people who died in Sri Lanka due to the civil war, but Tamils stood to die. Tamils died because they were Tamils. There were Tamil children who did not even know a word of Tamil, but they were killed because they were Tamils. Many were killed, but the Tamils stood to die. But who were killed? Humanity was killed. In every Tamil, it is a human person that died. And therefore, in remembering our heritage, in remembering our patrimony, in remembering our tradition, in remembering our literature and culture, we also remember the tragedies, the anxieties, the pain that we go through as a community. And that is very important, because to forget is to accept what had happened. To forget is not to stand on the side of the victim. To forget is to support the aggressor. If there are 1 million Tamils almost today living across the world from Sri Lanka, they were all born in Sri Lanka. That is the land in which they were sustained. That is the land in which they learned their language. That is the land of their parents, their grandparents, their ancestors, the land of their birth. But now it's a different land that becomes the land of their death. Our birth is in many ways inseparably bound with the soil in which we spoke the first words, we ate the first food. And therefore we remember especially the dead, those who died just because they were Tamils. And therefore it's important that as we celebrate the Tamil heritage, we bring this whole concept of our solidarity, of our unity, of our sense of community as one who are conjoined and undergirded by one linguistic tradition, one ethnic identity. And let this be, as our Prime Minister once said, Canada is great not because of its diversity, but diversity has contributed to its richness. It is not we are great because of our differences,